Hey guys, welcome to my first developer devlog that I am doing for a new game that I'm developing, which is kind of a chess roguelike. Um, so this is going to be a game that I'm going to be making with Unity and Aseprite, and throughout the devlogs, I hope to do these pretty much every day that I work on the game. I'll be showing you, snippets of me coding the game and my progress as I go along. Um, So the idea for the game actually came from one of my coworkers who suggested that it would be a good idea to do a roguelike and chess. Um, so I had thought of this idea before, but I'd never really given it serious consideration. And now I think that I've thought a bit more about the mechanics, that it could be a pretty cool game and like a fun project that hopefully could be knocked out fairly quickly. Um, and I think what makes the idea strong is that it has a very concrete like starting point and ending point. Let me move this screen over a bit. Um, and the way that I'm envisioning it is that you start off as like a lower rated chess player, and then you take it all the way to the world championship against Carlos Magson, who would be the world champion in this fictional sort of universe. And yeah, it's sort of like this. I'm jumping around, but it's sort of like this rags to riches story where you go from this beginner to beating that player, and that's the whole roguelike experience is playing against the world champion in that run. Um, Once you beat him, uh, and then after each uh, opponent that you beat, you're working your way up the elo ladder, and then you gain different buffs. Um, that can change the way that the chess game is played. Um, so just a few of those ideas that I have um, would be that you could teleport your pieces to different squares. You could combine pieces. So that idea came from my coworker. So you could take a knight and a bishop, and you could put it together and make another piece. You could take back a move. You could my idea is that these are sort of like chess books that you find, and they're kind of also have fictional names that are based off of names of real chess books. Like, I know there's this one chess book called 101 Endgames You Must Know. So once you find this book, and I don't know if I said this already, after each round, you would maybe select from three different books. They're given to you at random, and maybe one of them would be a book that gives you like a debuff that makes it harder for you to play. Like, you lose time every time you press the clock, or you're forced to play a certain opening uh, in your next match or throughout the rest of the run, even depending on how punishing I want to make it. Um, but like in the case of 101 endgames, you must know if you find that book, then once you reach like a queenless endgame or a queenless middle game, I guess the condition would be that both players no longer have their queen. Then the engine would essentially play out the rest of the moves in front of you for you in real time, and then you would just beat your opponent. So this would be like a really strong buff to have. Um, what else to talk about? I'm thinking there might be some kind of time component to put the pressure on the player more, and I haven't decided yet whether or not that would happen each time uh, that the player faces a new opponent, if the clock would reset. I plan to have like the chess clock visible um, in the environment sort of the whole time, but like a actual physical clock so that it feels more immersive. Um, but yeah, there may be some kind of time component in order to make the runs a little bit more interesting. Uh, I think it'll likely be a pixel art game just to keep the scope narrow enough that this could actually be finished. And I really like the idea, again, tying into that sort of immersive element with the physical clocks that, and also this is something that Inscription did really well, that the player could, get up from the board and then look at different areas of, like, I guess their house or um, wherever the main menu is, that they have like a library where you could see all of the books that you've seen already and like flip through them and then get a reminder of how they behave. And again, this is quite similar to Inscription. And then you could also have a trophy room, which would show all of the achievements, and these would kind of look like chess trophies. Um, and those would be achievements that the player like sort of accumulated throughout the run. Um, and I also think that it would be cool if those trophies had like a reward associated with them, and that reward would probably come in the form of different board cosmetics and different like environment unlocks, that maybe the player could go to and just play like a free game um, of chess without having to do it in the run, or at least be able to like see the different boards and environments that they've accumulated somehow. Um, Trying to think if there's anything else I'm missing. I think that's basically the main idea. Um, so I'll just show what I have so far here on screen. You can already see it. And this is the game in I think it's already running in like this debug mode. So I am using Unity to develop it. Um, and the only thing I've done so far is basically programmed a board that looks like this in text form, but then I was having some issues getting the actual squares here between to render properly and like do it in proper spacing. And I think that's because, there's these different fonts that are rendering these Unicode chess characters, and then based off of the way it renders it, it adds more space or doesn't add space, and it's not properly rendering like these little blank spaces that I did in this particular font style. I'm a complete noob to Unity, so I'm kind of like figuring this out as I go. Some things are similar to Game Maker and other engines I've worked with, like my own personal engine, but there's also like kind of a steep learning curve. So I'm hopefully just learning by doing. And I've also, made my pixel art board here in Aseprite, and I've been able to import it into the game. So the next step I think will be to make the pieces and be able to actually drag them along the board. And then I want it to also reflect on this like, oh, I should probably make this screen a bit bigger. On the underlying text board that kind of powers everything. In my code here, let me just go full screen with this. You might be able to see that I already have like a game board defined, and it's like a two-dimensional array of characters. And I think it would make it a lot easier if, when I'm checking the moves that the player is making on the 2D board, uh, if like there's always an underlying text representation of it that's being updated. So that will make like validation of the moves and the board state like much simpler. But yeah, that's basically all I have right now. I just wanted to get all my thoughts out there in like a vlog form, and you know, uh, maybe people will find this proposal for this game interesting. And will be interested in seeing how it comes along. So yeah, next step is to make the pieces and go from there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.